Hello friend, in this video tutorial we are going to see the introduction of embedded C. Before start of a course we will see the outcomes of this course. So here we will see what is embedded system, requirement while designing embedded system, limitation of assembly language, advantages of embedded C. So here the first of all we will see what is embedded based product. So here you can see different embedded based products in your regular life. So here you can see the security devices, home appliances, hardware devices, automotive devices, even the mobile devices. These all are basically the embedded products. So embedded systems or the embedded products requires and hardware and software. So it is a combination of hardware and software. So it involves 50% hardware and 50% software. So it becomes an embedded system. If you have a very good hardware but not very good software for that particular hardware, then the product will get failed. Similarly, if you have a very good skill set for developing those software, but if you don't have a good hardware, then again the embedded system will get fails. While designing any product, we need to consider the 4 parameters. So the first one is core, the processor which is going to use in our product, and the peripheral devices. So these peripheral devices will interface with this core, and depending upon the requirement, whether we need to read the information from the peripherals or we need to provide certain information to the peripherals, we need to write certain algorithms. So to write that algorithm, we need to write those algorithms using a programming language, and to simulate all this thing we required a tool. So using this tool we can simulate whether our program or the application is working properly or not. So before the invention of embedded C, we have a typical assembly language program for designing an embedded based application. So this program will be written in an assembly language called as a low level language. It is written by an extension .asm. We'll be having an assembler which will convert this assembly language program into an hex code, which is nothing but in the form of zeros and one, which will be easily understood by the processor, and then processor will execute that particular program. But assembly language is having their own limitation. In assembly language, the first and the major limitation is it is a machine dependent. That means, for example, if you write certain code for a particular processor, the same program will not work for another processor. That means, so for example, if you need to design a certain same application using the different processor, then we need to understand the instruction set of that particular processor, and then we can write program for that particular processor. Again, this assembly language is very hard to maintain, modification is very difficult, and again, since it is a very strict language and it is very difficult to understand, so we need to document it properly, so that next time if you have certain requirement from the client side to do some modification in the previous algorithm, then you need to first have a proper documentation so that you can understand what that particular snippet is doing in that whole program. So to overcome this limitation, embedded C come into picture. It is basically the C language it is basically nothing but a C language. So the major and the important advantage of the embedded C is it reduces the time required to develop a product. So ultimately the cost of the product gets reduced. It is a portable one. That means if you are writing your code for a particular processor, the same code will work for different processor also, and sometimes we need to do some little modification in that code, and that code will work for the another processor also. Now the third important point that we need to discuss why it is embedded C is more advantageous is that In case of an assembly language programming, we need to provide that the registers those are involved in your program. We need to provide the memory locations and the memory addresses, so that we can store or the load data from that particular memory location. But as far as the C language programming is concerned, we don't have to consent about and registers and the memory involved. Ultimately, the compiler is the one which is going to convert your high level language, which is basically written in C language, into an form which is understood by the processor. So as a programmer, it is not mandatory for you to understand the complete behavior architecture of that processor. If you are good in C, then and with a little knowledge of an particular microcontroller, you can start implementing a basic programming of and using an embedded C. As I told you, the we have and since we have and libraries available, so using that libraries, your code will be you can develop your code very fastly. Like we have certain standard routing for a numeric conversions in available in C language, but that is not available in assembly. We need to write your code for in assembly. So with this 4 point, we will close our video tutorial here, but there are lots of things we will see in next consecutive video lectures. Thank you.